Itchy nose. Kia ora everyone, welcome to this Empire Technology Review. I'm your resident tech and gaming guy Dave, and this week we're doing a technology review. I have before me the OMEN by HP 15. It's the 2019 model, which means that it has an 8th generation Intel Core i7, 16 gigs of DDR4, an NVIDIA RTX 2070 Max-Q design with 8 gigs of GDDR5 or 6 or whatever iteration they're using, the latest one, a 144Hz NVIDIA G-Sync enabled panel, and the design language that we would now come to expect from the OMEN by HP lineup. So, let's get stuck in. Inside, the laptop performs exactly as you would expect, being a very, very powerful CPU, GPU, and memory combination, as well as a M2 SSD, which runs on the PCI bus and not through SATA 3, so you get the full benefit of an extremely fast boot time and snappy and instant responses whenever you are trying to do your sort of day-to-day computing activities. I've been using this for about 3 weeks as a daily driver, and its general performance is really very impressive, as you would expect from a 2019 laptop based off of an 8th generation Core i7 CPU. And that is the 8750H, which is a hexa-core processor with hyperthreading, which means that when you bring it up and look at the per CPU core, it will display 12 cores, which is really, really very cool. It's just very difficult to fault this thing's day-to-day performance. If you need to be able to use Office, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, anything like that, it just destroys it. It's built for so much more than general purpose computing that it laughs at whatever is going on in that space. Video rendering, image editing, all of those types of CPU and memory and SSD intensive tasks are just blown away by this, because it has all of those pieces. 16 gigs of DDR4, a really good CPU. This one comes with a 512 gig M2 SSD, as I mentioned, running on the PCI bus, which just smashes everything. It's, you will not encounter any challenges with any non-gaming application that you would choose to run on this, including and up to, I would imagine, some very graphically intensive like CAD design sort of studios. So, if that is part of your decision-making process as to whether or not you would go for a laptop such as this, you don't have to worry about it. The overall design language that this laptop is speaking, I really like it. I like the the carbon fiber and the brushed metal components here, and the shiny red OMEN logo. The bit on the keyboard itself, which I'm just going to fire up now. The keyboard itself is a brushed metal top, chiclet style keyboard. It has 4 lighting zones which are controllable, and you can synchronize them to be one color. It is not per key RGB backlighting, which definitely some of the competition for this laptop does have that, but I mean, it's a backlit keyboard. I don't see it as a massive thing, but I can't speak for everyone in that. I haven't noticed a significant difference. Other people might. The trackpad is very good. It's very responsive. I'm not sure whether or not it is the Microsoft, like the Microsoft track thingy endorsed whatever it is that they do, but it doesn't matter. I plug in a mouse and forget that this is even there. But if I do need to fall back to it, I can, and it works, and it's really, really nice. The screen, as I mentioned, 144Hz, 1080p, narrow bezels, it's nice. It's very snappy. It is NVIDIA G-Sync enabled, so when you're gaming, you don't have to turn on V-Sync. It just has a matched frame rate up to 144Hz. If we move around to the back of the laptop, now hopefully I've got some B-roll here which should be sort of popping up. At the back of the laptop you can see the 2 chunky exhaust fans and the ports at the back, including a network port, which is a slimline one that I did not point out earlier. You can also see what's going on the right-hand side of the laptop and on the left-hand side of the laptop. Underneath the laptop, the design language actually continues, which I think is quite a good look. You've got really good air intake spaces here, including quite substantial rubber mounts. This ensures that there is a good amount of airflow underneath the laptop at all times. I've actually had this down on like gaming surfaces, like really large mouse mats and things like that as well. And these have really helped make sure that there's always good air flowing underneath and out the back of this laptop. Something else I like about this laptop, which you might not be able to see so great here, because it's running a Max-Q design, it doesn't need a monstrously large power supply to be able to be fully powered. This is a 200 watt power supply. As you can see, it's a reasonable size, but it's also quite slim. Now, you know, I'm used to seeing power supplies for gaming laptops that are like that and like, you know, maybe like this big. Think of it what you will. You know, I just think that it's something that really adds to the portability of this machine, and as such, I'm a big fan. So, what's it like for gaming? Well, that's a good question, and one that I'm going to try and answer, and I'm going to try and answer it quite thoroughly. Gaming on this is really nice. 2070 Max-Q design actually comes in somewhere around about the performance of a desktop 980 Ti, which was in my old desktop and is very capable of running modern games between sort of 70 to 100 frames per second in high to ultra settings, and smashes VR. I've actually run my Oculus Rift through this a few times as well, and it's really nice because it means that you're not actually tied to a desktop, and this actually has enough ports to be able to run everything that you need to be able to run VR from this laptop. I was really impressed with what this can do. Now, the 2070 Max-Q means that it is not quite as powerful as a full strength 2070 mobile graphics card. It's certainly not as powerful as a desktop 2070. So the 1080 screen on this is really the best choice to go for. A 15-inch 1080p screen has a really high pixel density as well, so you don't notice any kind of compromise when you're gaming. It is very strong, really powerful. Hopefully I will be sort of listing some scores and average frames per second here, but I've been playing games like Apex Legends, Anthem, The Division 2, Battlefield 5, and all of them have been just beautiful. You get to run them at their best settings and you get more than 60 frames per second on average from all of those games. So yeah, it's awesome. It's really good. And I think the 2070 is perhaps one of the sweet spots in this series of graphics cards. The 2080 powered laptops are between sort of $500 and $700 more expensive than the 2070s, and the 2070s give you a significant amount of performance. As I mentioned, unless you absolutely have to be running everything at 144 frames per second all the time, which, you know, you might, then a 2070 is absolutely more than enough to be able to do that. Also, with the RTX settings turned on to medium and everything else set to ultra in Battlefield 5, I was still able to get above 60 frames per second on average for this. Now, you may not be that interested in RTX. I would like to see it in more games before I pass a final judgment on it, but there is no question that the graphics capabilities of this laptop are bang on. I'm going to give this one an 8.7 out of 10. It's a really strong offering from HP. It is really well put together. I love the 2070 Max-Q. I think that it does a great job of balancing power requirements and performance. The OMEN is really well put together, really robust. I think that this will quite happily fit into most people's digital lifestyle if they are looking to go to a laptop this year. It is very well put together. I would say that the only reason I've not given it a higher score is because I do think that they could have done a little bit more with the cooling, perhaps running it around the side. You see that in things like Asus and MSI, they run it around the side a bit. And additionally, it's nitpicky, but no per-key backlighting when it's something that a lot of their competition has. However, there's still a huge amount to like about this laptop. So there you have it, HP OMEN's 2019 lineup, and starting with their 15-inch. If you like this review, give us a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. Do feel free to like, comment, favorite, subscribe, notify, all those sorts of I was doing pretty good. All of those sorts of social media things that we ask you to do these days, because we really enjoy putting together these videos, and we can only do it if we have your help. So, thanks very much. Do feel free to check out some more reviews. We have other laptops, we have cars, we have video games. But if this is the last review or view video, twice, man. If this is the last video that you're with us today, then I have been Dave, and I will see you